S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 is only around 2.5 weeks away now. This game has been a long time coming, and I won't lie, it's got some big shoes to fill after how popular and loved the original trilogy was back in the day. But all signs are looking good so far, as there have been a round of previews coming out over the last few weeks, and it really does look like we might be in for a very promising game later this month with S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2. Now, a quick explanation of what this game is for those of you who maybe haven't heard about it, or you've just heard the title but you don't know too much about the game. S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 and the previous S.T.A.L.K.E.R games are a series that is set in Chernobyl after the real-life events of the Chernobyl disaster. However, with S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2, this one is set in the modern day. Now, this game is classified as a AAA survival FPS with a large-scale, non-linear story set in a sinister environment of the post-apocalyptic Chernobyl exclusion zone, referred to as the Zone in the original games as well as this one. Now, the good thing for any of you guys who haven't played the originals but are interested in playing this one, it is independent to the first game. It is the same universe, however this game will have a different story and different characters, so luckily you don't need to have played the first ones in order to enjoy S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2. It's going to have a massive open world that they're saying is one of the biggest ever created for any game to date. It's over 60 square kilometers, all of which is filled with deadly animals, people, and creatures of all sorts that have been essentially mutated by the radiation within the zone. The game is being made in Unreal Engine 5. It looks absolutely phenomenal. I'm not going to lie, it might be one of the better looking games of the year so far, and from all accounts it looks very good on the Xbox Series X too. S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 will be launching on PC as well as on the Xbox Series X and S on November 20, and it will also be coming to Game Pass day one, which is a very big win for any of you guys who have Game Pass already. Now, like I mentioned, there is previous games in this franchise. Obviously it's called S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2, but this isn't technically the second game because there is an original trilogy to this game, those being S.T.A.L.K.E.R Shadow of Chernobyl, S.T.A.L.K.E.R Clear Sky, and S.T.A.L.K.E.R Call of Pripyat. These games were all PC only games from 2007 through 2009, and they are absolute cult classics that have sold over 15 million copies for the entire franchise, which is actually pretty massive considering their age as well as the fact that they were never on consoles as well. So 15 million copies is pretty damn big for games from way back in 2007. It's been 15 years, however, since Call of Pripyat came out back in 2009, so this is definitely one of those games that has got a lot of expectation after such a long time without a S.T.A.L.K.E.R game. Now, like I said, there have been some previews that have come out over the last few weeks. GSC Game World, the developers behind this game, gave a few journalists and stuff hands-on with the game, and there's been some very good stuff out there from a lot of these journalists who are pretty much just purely praising this game, saying there's a few little issues, but for the most part it looks very solid. Destin Legary from IGN said from his hands-on time with the game, 2 hours isn't enough time to see all the branching stories, admire all the beautiful graphics, and discover all the secrets within the world of S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2. But it is enough to be left impressed. When I wasn't taking stock of my paltry ammunition levels and hunger gauge, I was looking out at beautiful fields of red poppy flowers. When I wasn't getting distracted by an interesting side quest, I was doing my best to lure the mutants into an anomaly trap. And while it was over just when I felt like it was getting extra good, it had still left its impression. The impression that the team at GSC Game World has created something special with S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2. Now, to me personally, words like special shouldn't be thrown around without any meaning, so I'm going to assume that he really means it when he says this could be something special. Say what you will about IGN, but Destin is actually one of the few journalists at IGN that I generally tend to believe the stuff that he says. He seems like he's relatively switched on compared to a lot of the stuff you see coming out of IGN, and so for him to say the word special, that does seem like some very high praise, and I am very keen to get my hands on the game. I've got to say that I do agree with pretty much everything he said. It does look really awesome from all of the stuff we've seen so far. He also followed up by saying that there are times you'll have NPCs abruptly end a quest without rewarding you because you've looted the body of their dead friend, for example. Have that happen a couple of times and it will give you pause even when you're doing the kind of routine tasks that you normally wouldn't even think about. So clearly we're going to have to put a lot of thought into the decisions we're making within this game. This is that type of game where your decisions actually do impact the game a lot. If you do something wrong by a certain faction in the game, they will potentially cut you off. You'll no longer be able to do certain side quests through them. They may even begin to attack you and stuff like that. And so we are going to have to really think about each decision that we make in this game, which for me personally, I absolutely love when games have that level of freedom as to how we approach any given situation. Now, before we get into some more previews, if you guys are interested in more S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 content, be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications. There is going to be plenty more S.T.A.L.K.E.R content on the way, so make sure you don't miss out. Now, in another preview, this one coming from Andrew Brown from Games Radar, he said, after playing 3 hours of Stalker 2 and dying in every way imaginable, I can't wait to recommend this post-apocalyptic shooter to almost every Fallout fan I know. Now that to me sounds absolutely perfect because I'm a massive Fallout fan. Fallout 3, New Vegas, and 4 are some of my favorite games of all time. And realistically, this is the series that Fallout has kind of always been compared to the most, at least more so the likes of Fallout 3 and New Vegas anyway. Now, he also continued on to say, ultimately, I do think Stalker 2 is going to take a lot of players on Xbox and PC by surprise. The likes of Elden Ring, along with a bloom in realistic difficulty modes, shows that we're generally willing to get punished time and again if it's for a world worth surviving in. The zone follows this rule. After all, what's a little bit of radiation between friends? I ended my time in Stalker 2 battered, bruised, and low on just about every supply imaginable, but came away with a craving to let my curiosity guide me into just one more mouldering warehouse or dark cave to score just one more thunking headshot before being killed myself. No, the zone might not want me there, but given how much fun defying it is, I can think of no place I'd rather be dying at come launch. Now that right there is some absolutely massive praise, and it does seem to be a pretty common sentiment that people are going to be taken by surprise when it comes to Stalker 2. A lot of the previews I've listened to and read have said much the same, that a lot of people probably aren't going to expect this game to be as good as it may potentially be based on all of these previews, and that just like Destin from IGN said, this could be something that is actually very, very special. Now we finally have another preview here, this one being from Connor McCart from VG247, and he said, Stalker fans will know what they're getting into here, but for lay people not familiar with the series, I struggle to explain what you're getting into here. I guess you could explain it like this. Fallout 3 or Fallout 4 is a quirky bomber jacket covered in patches and enamel pins, and Stalker 2 more a weathered leather jacket sewn up where it's ripped, sporting miscellaneous stains and hiding a well-used hip flask. He then continued on saying that Stalker 2 has got some scars on it, it's not the prettiest thing in the world, and sometimes you think it's barely managing to stay patched together, but god damn, it's damn cool. Gun-toting, survival-driven hardcore gamers, this is one to keep an eye out for without a doubt. To me, that definitely sounds very much in line with how I saw the first games. I remember playing Call of Pripyat way back in the day, and I remember it being very, very difficult, and it's fair to say a little bit rough around the edges, but it seemingly just kept drawing me back and back to the point where I actually owned the Steelbook version of that game because clearly I enjoyed it that much. And so it does seem very in line with this game from all of the previews we've seen, that it is really going to stand out as that real, true, hardcore survivalist FPS that we haven't really gotten in quite some time now. I'm keen to hear all of your thoughts so far on Stalker 2. I'm keen to hear what you guys are most interested to see with this game, whether or not you think it's going to be a really top tier game. So be sure to leave a comment down below. But with that being said, thank you all very much for watching. You guys have a great day, and we'll catch you all in the next one.